Howdy neighbors, David here. And today on Boondock Stallions, we are still doing 31 Days of Horror. We are on day 8. Haha. And we are watching Bride of Chucky. Now, before we get started, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe to. All your friends are doing it. Don't you want to be cool too? Pressure. Forgive me for speaking a little fast. I'm still jacked on my morning coffee, but that's good. It means I'll be in a chatty mood. So, Bride of Chucky, easily one of my favorite in the Chucky series. Now, the interesting thing about it is it's not only a sequel, but it is also a soft reboot. It is technically part 1 in the Of Chucky series, because you don't have to have actually watched Child's Play 1, 2, or 3 to start Bride of Chucky and then continue with the series. It does a basic good story of letting you know who Chucky is, where he comes from, and how he came to be in the doll, and the story goes forward from there. So it is, like I said, its own soft reboot of sorts, and still technically part 4 in the franchise. And like I said, there was no way that Chucky survived that fan at the end of Child's Play 3, and no way there was enough pieces to be stitched back together for this movie, but for the sake of the sequel, they decided to go ahead and, stretch our disbelievability just a little bit. The character David it's like, I don't think I've seen him in anything else, but I keep wanting to call him not Alan Tudyk. That is literally who he is. He is not Alan Tudyk. He is like, if you ordered Alan Tudyk off of Wish, this guy would be exactly who you get. And Katherine Heigl, I love Katherine Heigl, but I'd really be interested to know how she feels about this movie on her history of movies that she's been in, because I know she's not a big fan of Knocked Up, which personally is, while I get that it is a raunchy comedy, it is still a funny comedy. It was a well-received comedy, and it got her many acting roles after the fact, so, show a little bit of gratitude. But no, I've been in love with Katherine Heigl since she did a movie with Danielle Harris. I forget what the name of it was. It was a very low-budget Disney-style movie where her and Danielle Harris played sisters, and they ended up switching bodies in a very Freaky Friday-esque storyline. I forget what it was. I'll get back to you on that. But they did really well. John Ritter nailed it. I like to think that this movie is set in the same universe as Freddy vs. Jason, and that's mostly just because Ronnie Yu directed both of those films, this one and Freddy vs. Jason, and he did a masterful job with them, except for that whole not getting Kane Hodder to play Jason thing. They were a masterpiece. Also, maybe a little bit squirty with the blood, like it splatters a lot, like an unnecessary lot, but his blood reminds me of when Wednesday and Pugsley were fighting in that play in the first Addams Family movie, and there was just blood spraying everywhere, and the crowd was like, what the hell? Because they were soaked in blood too, but very funny. At least that's what it reminds me of visually. Deciding to take this movie in more of a romantic comedy buddy cop feel was actually a really smart move for the franchise. Chucky kind of stopped being scary after the first movie, and then you really were just interested to see new and fun ways for Chucky to kill people in parts 2 and 3, and that was most of the appeal for that. So at this point, reinventing the style of movie that Chucky appears in was a bold and good move. There's a lot more comedy. Chucky always had some smart-ass one-liners in the first 3 movies, but I think they decided to focus more on that, and I promise you, they couldn't have cast anyone better to play Tiffany other than Jennifer Tilly. She is perfect in every performance she's been in, and she's been in every single Chucky movie since Bride of Chucky. Obviously she was in Seed of Chucky, and then she had her cameo in Curse of Chucky, which you should check out. It's a great movie. And then she had her cameo in Cult of Chucky, and now she's going to be back in Chucky TV, which premieres next week, which is what we're building up to here, and we're almost there. I'm already at Bride of Chucky. All we have now is Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, and Cult of Chucky, and then Chucky TV. I really love that they took advantage of John Ritter's range as an actor. May he rest in peace. John Ritter, he's a great guy. He's funny. He's got so much heart that you love him no matter what he's doing when he's being a good guy. But you forget that he can be the biggest prick in the planet when he wants to be a bad guy. I saw him on an episode of Law and Order SVU. Monster, dude. And like, he wasn't just a monster. He's the kind of guy that, like, he's so sleazy. After watching the performance on the movie, I had to go and take a shower to get the grime off. Like, it was pretty intense. But I mean, once again, he's a great actor, was a great actor, and I was really happy with his performance in this movie. Also, speaking of late great actors, actresses, Alexis Arquette. I love Alexis Arquette in everything she did. She was amazing, and I loved that this was when she was still, she played Damien, and the reason that Damien looks so very much like Marilyn Manson is because originally they had asked Marilyn Manson to be in the movie, but he turned it down because apparently he doesn't like to be in good horror movies, and so they made the character of Alexis Arquette look exactly like Marilyn Manson anyways, and it played for comedy, and it was gold, and I loved it, and I would actually have rather had Alexis than Marilyn Manson anyways. So, booyah! I understand that leaving the baby at the very end of the movie was a horrible thing to do, because what if you want a sequel, and how do you follow it up with the baby? And then we get to Seed of Chucky, and it totally failed to live up to the hype and the expectations that we'd had after Bride of Chucky. Then it also came out like, what, 6 years later, I think? If I'm not mistaken. Hold on. I can tell you now. Let's see, because I know Bride of Chucky came out in 1998, and Seed of Chucky came out in 2004. Yeah, that is quite a gap in time. And so I would think that we would have gotten a little bit better of a movie, but it's fine. I enjoy it for what it is, and I'll talk to you more about that one tomorrow, and how much it sucks that movie wasn't well received, because the one that came out right after it, Curse of Chucky, deserved a theatrical release, and we didn't get it. Like, that was good. And that was Chucky being on form. It was just enough of the original 3 movies, scary and seriousness and tone, with just enough of the comedy that we got from Bride of Chucky to make it work. And then we got Andy back, and then we got Tiffany back, and then they brought in, the actress that played Kyle in part 2 is said to come back to Chucky TV. So I like that they're keeping characters. And even Andy, when they show Alex Vincent, he's wearing the sweater that Justin Whalen wore for Kent Military School in part 3, and holding the same rifle that he had, and all of his plaques and things. So they're keeping, once again, with the level of consistency that is in all of the Child's Play movies. Is there anything else about this movie that I loved? I love all the references to other horror movies. In the police station at the very beginning of the movie, there's a hockey mask, there's a chainsaw, there's Freddy's glove, Michael Myers' mask is there, and then when they kill off John Ritter's character, they do the Pinhead reference. Like, there's just everything. Also, they're remaking Hellraiser, which is going to be great. And I'm to understand that everybody's gotten their panties in a twist about them casting a female to play Pinhead. And I say Pinhead, it's the Hell Priest. Read the books. And I want to say that to sound like the elitist. Oh, read the books, peasants. But I mean, seriously, read the books, peasants. I mean, you can enjoy both. They're both great. The movies are amazing, and the books are also amazing. But in the books, the Hell Priest is a girl. And technically, I don't even think that the Cenobites have genders. As I'm to understand it, demons are pretty much genderless. Think of a Ken doll. And so whenever they take over the body of a mortal, they just assume the gender of the person whom they are taking over. It doesn't mean that Pinhead is a guy. It doesn't mean that Chatterer is a guy. It doesn't mean anybody has a specific gender. It just means that that's whose body they took over to further their purposes. Anyways, that's all I've got for today. Be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes.